Today we are going to change the seal in a Foster 58 series power tong. This is the lower or the bottom oil seal, and as you can see, this is what this tong looks like. Now we've turned this tong on its side, makes it a little easier to get at that seal. So now we'll go through the processes here of installation of that seal. So this is what the seal looks like. That is the proper seal for the bottom of the Foster type power tongs. And now one of the things that we suggest that we do all the time, in order to go ahead and allow for a little more tolerance in the bottom end of the ID, is we normally adjust the spring length. So we're just going to show you quickly how to adjust the spring length. When you remove the spring from the inside of the housing, there's a thread together point here that we just undo, and then typically we remove 1 inch of the length by cutting it off, and then we thread the two pieces back together again. There you go. And then reinstall it into the seal. That gives us a little more tolerance to work with on the ID of the seal. Okay, and now we're going to go ahead and we'll the prep to install the seal is, first of all, we want to clean up the area that the seal has to seal inside of the tong. And if you look inside here, you'll see we want to make, here we're using brake clean, and we're just cleaning out the inside surface to make sure that we've got a nice clean surface to create a seal with. Now we're going to add a little bit of silicone into the inside of there, just a very small amount that we're going to wipe in with our finger in order to give us a little better seal to the back side of that oil seal. It also acts as a bit of a lubricant when you go to install the seal as well. This particular tong, we've installed a new wear sleeve here onto the OD of the drag ring itself, or the OD of the final drive gear, in order to give us a nice good surface for that seal to sit on the ID. Now you install the seal. If you look, if we check the seal here, you'll see that we're installing the seal with the lip to the inside. And now we need to go ahead and start the beginnings of the installation. We need to make sure that we don't damage the lip of the seal. We want to get it inside around the, we just use our thumbs or our fingers to just get the lip started inside around the ID. Usually this is a better job handled with 2 people rather than 1, because it tends to want to pop out as you're trying to install. And you have to be very careful to make sure that you get that inside lip inside of that seal sleeve as you're putting it in. And then we want to make sure that we tap it all the way around to make sure that the seal is sitting as high up into that cavity as it's possible. And then we just add a small amount of silicone around the OD of the seal at the bottom end, of which we don't want to put them in there twice, so we'll make sure that they're properly sealed the first time. And now we'll go ahead and we'll install the rear cover. Now, one thing about the bolts that you install into the bottom side of this have access to the oil in the case. So we need to make sure that when we put the bolts in, we make sure we put a small amount of silicone on the threads of each bolt in order to seal the threads. Make sure the threads don't drip. I'm going to show you what we mean here. We're just going to put a locator in there first, and we'll put silicone onto the rest of these. And we want to put on silicone just carefully dab just a small amount of silicone on the end of the bolt, and that will give us a seal to seal the oil from coming down the bolt threads. And you can continue to install the rest of the bolts the same way, and you should have your bottom seal changed.